America, and welcome to this week's edition of CenterVision, where we have one of the subject matter experts from the Center for Security Policy come on and fill our brains with good information so we know how to stand as strong Americans in this crazy, crazy world. But listen to this, America. Over this past weekend, and today is the 19th of June, 2014, over this past weekend, we had a unique, tremendous Special Forces team of Delta, SEALs, and FBI agents insert themselves from the sea into Libya. Then they set up a trap for a particular individual, Ahmed Abu Khattala. And in this trap, they finally caught him, brought him out to sea, and he's heading back to New York to stand trial. Well, all they had to do was talk to, what's her name? Arwa, A-R-W-A, Arwa Damon, who's a reporter for CNN. Because not too long ago, she and our buddy Khattala had a cup of coffee in a cafe, and he told her anything she wanted to know. What the heck is going on? How can a CNN reporter have an open meeting in a cafe with a high-value target, and now we have this whole operation going on trying to capture this guy who's supposed to be the mastermind behind the Benghazi tragedy? Well, with us today is somebody that's going to sort all of that out, because she can sort all of this stuff out all of the time. CLARE LOPEZ, Vice President for Research and Analysis at the Center for Security Policy. Welcome.
Thanks, Tom. Good to be with you. I'll do my best.
What a mess, Claire. Help us out with Ahmed Abu Khattala. And so to me, it looks like we're wagging the Benghazi here. You fill us in, Claire.
Well, a couple things. You're absolutely spot on to talk about the CNN reporter who seemed to have absolutely no trouble finding Abu Khattala last year. I think it was during the middle of about 2013 at a local juice bar in downtown Benghazi, where he was wont to hold forth. And if they had wanted to capture him practically at any time during the past 20 months, they didn't need the SEALs, they didn't need Delta, they didn't need the FBI. Essentially they could have just gone in and found him, but they didn't want to, obviously. So then the question becomes, well, why did they want to now all of a sudden? There are a few things that maybe they'd like to divert attention away from.
A few things.
Well, things going on in Iraq come to mind. The rapid blitzkrieg advance of this group called ISIS.
Hey, Claire, hang on to ISIS for a minute, because we're gonna have you comment on that. But yeah, the United States government seems to be wanting to divert attention away from other issues that we're going to ask you about. But hanging on with this Benghazi situation, I think what this country needs, remember a good 5-cent cigar? I think what this country needs is a good Benghazi accountability group. Do you know anything like that may be going on?
You are so timely. Just this past Monday, which was June 16th, we of the Benghazi Accountability Commission, by the way, BAC, or Benghazi Accountability Commission.org website, met at the Heritage Foundation up on Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C., to hold a symposium. It was led by our group's leader, former Department of Justice prosecutor Andy McCarthy. We had an excellent set of 3 panels to discuss all the issues related to Benghazi. Moderator Chris Plant, radio show host personality, and just wonderful panelist members, talking about what happened before Benghazi, during Benghazi, and after. The before part, which is, well, why was security pulled out of Benghazi when it was so desperately needed? Why was the United States, with Christopher Stevens, at the time envoy to the Libyan rebels, and CIA, dealing with Libyan Al-Qaeda and Muslim Brotherhood militias? Why didn't we come to the aid, even try to come to the aid of our mission people fighting and dying alone in Benghazi on the night of September the 11th, 2012? And then third, why did the administration of Barack Obama, and especially Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, push this false narrative, deliberately push what they knew was a false narrative of a YouTube video and non-existent protest? So that's what the commission, the accountability coalition, took a look at this past Monday.
All right, that is excellent. So, folks, putting these pieces together, here's what we have. We have this tragedy on September 11th, a couple of years ago now, almost 2 years, amazing, and where 4 Americans died. And this USG, this United States government, essentially has been MIA on this. But recently, the House has identified a select committee, Benghazi Select Committee, going to be headed up by former prosecutor Trey Gowdy. So that got positioned. Then this very elite group of national security, law enforcement, and military analysts formulates a commission, meets on Monday the 16th to hold the USG, our government, accountable and to assist the select committee in getting to the truth. And then all of a sudden on the 19th, we snatch the bad guy in Libya. Give me a break. This is, in my opinion, such a scam by this administration. Now, why isn't this guy, Claire, going to Guantanamo Bay where he belongs? Because as I understand U.S. constitutional law, once he puts his foot on the ground, he's entitled to the full-throated privilege of the United States Constitution. Is that true?
Well, I don't know about full-throated. Last time I checked, the U.S. Constitution was for American citizens. I don't see why an unlawful combatant like Abu Khattala would have access or rights under the U.S. Constitution to anything. However, it's true that the timing of his snatching really leaves one wondering. At a time when, just as you just said, Trey Gowdy, representative of South Carolina, is beginning to head up the work of the newly appointed Select Committee on Benghazi in Congress. And besides which, Abu Khattala, although an obvious member and founding member of Ansar al-Sharia, the al-Qaeda front that led the attack on our mission in Benghazi, he was a member, he was a founding father, but he was not the leader. There are others out there, which we helped to put in power, by the way. We, the United States government and NATO, helped these guys overthrow the legitimate sovereign government of Libya in order to put al-Qaeda and the Muslim Brotherhood in power in Libya.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Folks, we're with Claire Lopez, Vice President of Research and Analysis at the Center for Security Policy in Washington, D.C. That's a think tank dealing with national security issues and policy, headed up by Frank Gaffney, our dear friend. And Claire, but as we're wrapping this up, we got to go to ISIS. We got to go to Iraq for a few moments and get your analysis on this day, the 16th of June, 2014. Air campaign, ground campaign, put troops back in, throw them out. Is the ISIS Shia warriors that we were helping in Syria, now we're going to kill them because they moved a couple hundred miles, to the west? What the heck is going on in Iraq?
It seems like a really confusing mess, and it is. But here in a nutshell is the way I look at it, okay? ISIS, Islamic State of Iraq and al-Sham, is sometimes called Levant, ISIL, basically is a Sunni jihadist organization, group of militias. What you're looking at in both Syria and Iraq is merely the latest iteration of almost 1,400 years worth of intra-Islamic sectarian warfare between Shiites and Sunnis, sectarian hatreds that go back to the time right after the death of Muhammad, when they could not agree on who would succeed Muhammad. This is the latest iteration of that.
Unbelievable. And at this point, my view is, you know what? Let them kill each other if that's what they want
Government
to
of
do.
Nouri al-Maliki, puppet of Iran in Baghdad, backed by the Iranians, also jihadist organization.
Hey, Claire, repeat that. We lost you for a little bit. We had a little glitch in the NSA tapping in right at that time. So you said it's a civil war,
Okay.
basically. Then what you say after that?
Okay, basically what we're looking at is the latest iteration of a more than 1,300-year intra-Islamic sectarian war between Sunnis and Shiites. On the Sunni side, you've got ISIS, which is allied with all kinds of former al-Qaeda affiliates, militias. On the other side, you've got the Shiites, and that is the Nouri al-Maliki Shiite puppet regime in Baghdad of the Iranian jihadist regime in Tehran. So you get your choice. You can support the Sunni jihadis, or you can support the Shiite jihadis, or better yet, let's not support either side. Let them fight.
Let them
We
fight.
defend our allies,
Absolutely. And
Israel and Jordan, and we help with humanitarian aid as best we can. That's it.
Amen. And we heard a year ago, 2 years ago, oh, the West, America has to intervene in Syria, otherwise the whole world is going to fall apart. They're killing each other up there in Syria. If they want to fight these civil wars, we ought to stay out. There's ways to protect our friends and neighbors without getting involved in the civil war. Same thing here. All the pundits, all the interesting elected officials that are gearing up for election on November 4th, positioning themselves now to be these gigantic hawks or whatever. Hey, we've learned our lessons. These people want to cut each other's throats. Allow them to do that in peace and quiet, and we'll move on and just protect our interest and protect the interest of Israel. Any thoughts you want to leave with the folks before we wind down this segment of CenterVision,
Yeah.
Claire?
Maybe just a couple of quick thoughts. And one last thing I would advise that the United States really should do is maintain a good intelligence capability to follow what is going on. That's certainly important. And then I would leave you with one last thought, and that comes from our good friend, retired Air Force Lieutenant General Tom McInerney the other day, who said, why should America be Iran's Air Force?
Wow.
I can't reply.
Wow, that was a great point. Excellent point. You there, Claire?
Still here?
Yeah, that was a great point by General McInerney, and that's a good point to leave on. Why should we be Iran's Air Force? How absurd this world is. But you know what? Each week, we'll have somebody from Center for Security Policy on our CenterVision. Quick update on national security. Claire, you take care, and if anything breaks, give us a call, and we'll put something out, okay?
Thanks again. We'll be in touch.
Bye-bye. All right, America, you heard it from Clare Lopez, former CIA operations officer, 20 years, retired from there, went into the private sector, worked for many of the three-letter agencies assisting them, now works full-time with Center for Security Policy in research and analysis. Claire is truly a national treasure, right, guys? Wouldn't you say so? Absolutely. Let's give Claire a hand, and we'll see you next week.